I want to go back to the Mueller report now and come on in. Victoria Toensing, former Justice Department official, well known to this program. Victoria, welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Stuart.
Wrap it up, please. Your response to the Barr press conference. Go.
Oh, well, he was spectacular. I mean, he's just sort of pawing with them like a cat does with mice. Well, why don't you think Congress should have done this? Well, you know, that's not exactly Congress's job to decide whether to prosecute. I mean, he was having fun. You could tell he was quite relaxed. But you know what, Stuart? I hope this report comes out and shows the president was saying, I want to fire that so-and-so. I want to get rid of, oh, this guy's incompetent. Because he was furious. And isn't that who we elected? A fighter. And just think about it. If you were being investigated for 2 years for robbing a bank, and then you find out that the bank had never been robbed, wouldn't you be furious and vent?
Yes,
and vent?
But fury and anger is not obstruction of justice. Because he never did fire Mueller, and he never did get involved in all these retractions, never interfered at all.
Yeah, thinking about sinning, you know, I was raised Catholic. I guess that's the last place where you have to go confess. Bless me, Father, I have had certain kinds of thoughts.
Well, that's quite an admission there, Victoria. I usually want to make that on live TV, but you did. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
I think, again, I keep going back to this. Look, the Russia thing, the Mueller report, they're never going to let it go. They'll keep going at it, and I think that to their political detriment, the Democrats, that is. I think their danger is when we find out how this whole thing started. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and James Comey and Andrew McCabe and Strzok and all the rest of them. That's the danger, the political danger to Democrats. I think, what say you?
Oh, I say, what did Barack Obama know and when did he know it? And look at the Ukraine connection. It all started in Ukraine, and Nellie Orr has already admitted that people from Ukraine helped make up things for the dossier. So stay tuned. There's a lot to come about Ukraine.
You're a lawyer, and a very good one. You looked at the Barr press conference. Does the president, at this point, have any legal liability, in your opinion?
None whatsoever. There is no evidence to establish that there was any collusion, which, by the way, Stuart, is a brand new legal term for me, because we always use the term conspiracy. This shows you how good the Democrats are at messaging. We're all talking about collusion. It's not a crime. It isn't there. So, but anyway, let's accept it. Okay, it's become a new crime. But there isn't any evidence of it. And obstruction, Bill Barr and Rod Rosenstein, Bill Barr got him on board, both say that didn't rise to any criminal conduct. Listen, here's what they're talking about when they say, well, legally, that perhaps there isn't any basis for collusion. Say, for example, the firing of Comey. That's an Article 2 authority. You can't go looking into when a president fires the head of the FBI. That's what he's entitled to do. So, and if it were a crime, if that were criminal conduct at all, why didn't Rod Rosenstein put that in the document where he authorized Mueller to start investigating? He didn't do that. He put in a counterintelligence investigation instead. So these are the kinds of things that Bill Barr was saying, hey, you know, legally even, there's really a debate with the special counsel as to whether there was even an issue here of obstruction of justice. Forget the facts.
Last one, and real fast. Bruce Fein, Deputy Associate Attorney General under Ronald Reagan, he just told us that when Mueller testifies, and he's likely to testify, that'll be the end of it, because he will explain in full what's going on. You agree with that? You think?
No. No, that's not going to be the end of it, because the House Democrats are going to continue to pound and pound and pound. Now they're going to be after the tax records and financial records. No, they're not going to give up, because they wanted to undo this duly elected president. That's what this has all been about.
Victoria Toensing, what a pleasure to have you on the show again. Do not be a stranger, please.
Thanks.
See you soon. Thank you.